Welcome to the Oregon Department of Human Services Self-Sufficiency Partners Meeting. We offer ASL and Spanish interpretation. Please use the interpretation icon below to select how you would like to participate in our meeting. We also offer CART transcription services. Self-Sufficiency Programs is committed to developing and deepening our partnerships to provide outstanding and culturally specific services and supports to the people in Oregon. This means listening, learning, and working together across ODHS programs and state agencies with the 9 tribes of Oregon, community-based organizations, and members of Oregon's communities. This virtual meeting occurs monthly and is a forum for updates, discussion, feedback, Q&A about self-sufficiency programs and other related subject matter. This meeting is recorded so that we can share the meeting along with presentations and minutes to those partners who are unable to join us today. The follow-up email with all corresponding documents and links will be sent in 1 week. At this time, we do ask that you introduce yourself in chat. So please include your name, pronouns, organization, and role. This is helpful to us as partners for connection purposes. So I'm going to take a moment and do that myself here. Today's agenda includes presentations about Preschool Promise and the Pandemic Emergency Assistance Fund. We'll also have an announcement towards the end from our comms team as well. Presenters, we do ask that you turn your cameras on while presenting where able, as our partners appreciate seeing the person who is speaking. Of course, we would like to invite all those who are willing and able and comfortable to share your cameras as well. Before we begin today, I have been asked by the SNAP team to make an announcement. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Our storefront offices have been asked to make the affidavit to request replacement of SNAP benefits, which is Form 349D, available in office for those who have replacement needs. We hope that this request and reminder smooths out the process for Oregonians needing this particular assistance. The form is used to request SNAP replacement benefits due to household misfortune or electronic theft. So for more information, you can visit our website. I'm going to put that in chat right now so that you have that link readily available in case you are unfamiliar with what SNAP replacement benefits are. But moving on with our agenda, our first presenter is from the Department of Early Learning and Care, and they are here to speak with you about Preschool Promise. So are those presenters here? I see Dana. All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Dana, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Dana Young. I'm the Preschool Promise Program Manager here for the Department of Early Learning and Care. And our communications coordinator was going to join me, but it is the last day of school today for her little one. So she sends her apologies. So you'll have me today. I'm going to go ahead and share screen and just talk to you a little bit about Preschool Promise. And then I'm going to turn it over to Katrina with the Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub to go ahead and talk about like how eligibility, selection, and placement happens in her hub region as well. So let me get started here. Let me see here. Alrighty, can you see my screen there? Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so Preschool Promise is one of that publicly funded programs that our department oversees. We serve families at or below the 200% of the poverty level statewide. So we do that by direct granting with several entities across the state. We currently have over 200 grantees providing Preschool Promise. So there's a preschool high quality program serving kiddos who are 3 or 4 years of age. One thing with our eligibility is the families deemed eligible for Preschool Promise, they can stay in the program up until the child is eligible for kindergarten. Even if there is a change in their income, they don't have to reapply for Preschool Promise. They can continue to stay in the program. So for just to give you a little bit of a glimpse there as far as the eligibility, for a family of four for that 24-25 program year, the family cannot make any more than $64,400 a year in order to qualify for Preschool Promise. Foster children are categorically eligible, so they are deemed eligible, without any type of proof of income if they are a foster child. Just a little bit about our mixed delivery. As I mentioned, we're serving kiddos 3 and 4 years of age or not yet eligible for kindergarten. We are a mixed delivery model, so that means the parents have the option to go ahead and choose, their Preschool Promise experience with a home-based provider type, at a school-based or a center-based. So we have a lot of entities who are Preschool Promise, our school districts. Some of them are OPK Head Start type programs because we do, do some blending of funds there with some other programs as well. And many are home-based providers. So that means that the family can go ahead and get that high quality preschool experience in a home setting. Currently under grants, we are serving about 5,132 children statewide. We are in all, as I mentioned, in all 36 counties of the state. And we do this by granting directly with, for this program year, we have about 212 grantees in various different settings there. Some of the requirements of just, our Preschool Promise grantees, they have to meet a lot of quality requirements to be part of Preschool Promise. But as far as like the service delivery that the family would expect, programs cannot start earlier than August 1st, and they cannot end no later than June 30th. We are really trying to go ahead and mimic that kindergarten full day type of program with Preschool Promise. They are required to go ahead and provide a minimum of 900 direct service hours to the children, not counting conferences or field trips. Does not account it in the 900 hours. There cannot be no fewer than 265 days between the first day and the last day of their program calendar. And that's once again because we're trying to go ahead and mimic that full day kindergarten, that program year that a family will find in a kindergarten program. Our providers are required to provide no less than 6 hours per day and no less than 4 days per week. Families do have the option to go ahead and start, a little bit earlier or stay a little bit late through some wraparound services, but they will either need to go ahead and pay, through private pay or through ERDC or through some scholarships. So we would just be covering like the 6 hours per day. Some of our Preschool Promise grantees, they do offer more than the 6 hours in their schedule, though. Some of them are offering 6.5, 7 hours a day. And thus, through collaboration with parents, that's something that they want to do. So these are just the minimums. We do have some Preschool Promise grantees that are offering a little bit more. That Preschool Promise daily schedule has to happen between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Many of our programs are doing like a 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. type of Preschool Promise, and then they'll offer the before and after care to the family if they are able to meet it, or if that aligns with their programming. Closures during the program year cannot exceed 21 consecutive calendar days. So that's something that we monitor closely with our grantees. I put a picture here of our Preschool Promise Quality Requirements Playbook. That just talks about the quality requirements that grantees are supposed to abide by when delivering Preschool Promise, right? What does that conference look like with parents? What does the parent voice and engagement and many other requirements? We just recently released our external dashboard in an effort to be more transparent with the public as far as what enrollment looks like with Preschool Promise. And I have the link here, so we'll make sure to share it with all of you. This dashboard just shows the number of slots that we have available across the state, the number of sites. Well, if you remember, I just mentioned that we have 212 grantees. Many of them have more than one site. So across the state, Preschool Promise has been offered across 318 sites statewide. So that's one thing. Some of our grantees, for example, here on the hub region where Katrina, is serving, we have like the Salem Kaiser School District. They have, I believe, around 8 sites across just within the hub region. So one grantee can definitely have more than one site. So this is one, and it's a dashboard that gets updated regularly to be able to show how are we doing with enrollment. We're super happy to be closing the program year at 96% enrollment, which is phenomenal. This is the highest enrollment that we had in the last couple of years because of the pandemic and parents getting used to sending their kiddos back to preschool. So I'll go ahead and make this available, and actually let me click on it so you can see the dashboard here real quick. So let me share that again. Once here. Okay, should be able. So when you get to the dashboard, as I mentioned, we are across, we are a statewide program, so you're able to go ahead and see the different, the different slots by region. Each of the hub regions has the, a certain amount of slots that we have in grant agreements at this point. So like, for example, Marion and Paul, we have 862 slots. So that means that there's 862 preschool opportunities through Preschool Promise. So it varies by hub. So that's one thing, depending on the area where you are, this is something that you are able to look through and just see how many slots we have in each of the hub regions. In addition, as I mentioned, we do have like the enrollment. So this just kind of shows you how our enrollment has increased over that over the program year. All of our grant agreements right now with all of the entities across the state, we are in 2-year grant agreements. So that has allowed, enrollment to go ahead and occur a lot sooner. So many of our, you hear me mention our hubs a lot. That's because we partner with our early learning hubs across the state to be able to do eligibility selection and placement for the Preschool Promise families. So they are the lead agency at the local level to be able to deem a family eligible for all of our grantees, with the exception of those who are dual funded. If they are Preschool Promise, NOPK, or Head Start, they do their own eligibility. But our hubs are that community partner who's doing a lot of collaboration and engagement to ensure that publicly funded programs are full. So this is the data that we get from them and some of our dual funded programs as far as like how are we doing with enrollment, how is that moving. So that is our relationship with our hubs. As you can imagine, for a state agency, we are granting with more than 200 entities across the state. So that's a lot of administration, a lot of technical assistance. So we also do partner with our child care resource and referral partners across the state, and they are tasked with providing technical assistance and support in meeting the quality requirements for Preschool Promise. So that's one thing to know, that while we are here at the state doing the direct granting with the entities, we collaborate with our hubs to help us get the kiddos enrolled, and then we collaborate with that child care resource and referral to provide technical assistance to our grantees. Currently, we do have, let me just go to this one here. We do have a request for application open. We are seeking, we have some slots that are available for reallocation. So we are looking for entities to either increase the number of slots, increase the number of children that they're serving, or for new entities for us to be able to reallocate those Preschool Promise slots. So there is a request for application that's currently open that's going to be closing on the 17th. And then also statewide, we do have, through the same RFA, an entity can apply to be on our applicant waitlist pool to be considered for future expansion or additional slots that may come available in the 24-25 program year. Our program year, when you hear me say program year, I'm really referring to the period from July 1st of 2024 to June 30th of 2025. That is what we consider a program year here with Preschool Promise. So that's what we have here with Preschool Promise. We are a pretty new program in comparison to the other publicly funded programs. We were just launched in 2016. So while we have a lot of grantees, a lot of work, we're still pretty new in comparison to maybe like OPK or Head Start that has been around for many years. I think one of the things that sets us apart as our mixed delivery is the ability for families to go ahead and really decide, do I want that preschool experience to happen at a home-based provider, a center-based, or the school, the school-based provider, which does a really great job at helping that transition into kindergarten, right? Because then the little one is able to go ahead and like make relationships and get to know that, that kindergarten, classroom that they may be attending, the following year. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Katrina to go ahead and talk to us about Preschool Promise in her hub region. And then if there's any questions, I'll definitely keep an eye on the chat box too. Go ahead, Katrina.
Thank you, Dana. So from the local region, I'm the coordinated enrollment manager for the Marion Polk Early Learning Hub. And so I oversee the enrollment. We do the application enrollments for Preschool Promise, but we also coordinate with the Head Start and Oregon Pre-Kindergarten, OPK. We meet bi-weekly, twice a month, to go over enrollment. We partner with, like Dana said, there's organizations that have both OPK, Head Start, as well as Preschool Promise. And we actually, I can share, we have a preschool hub in our region that we coordinate our services with Head Start and the school district. Let's see. And this is a preschool directory for Marion and Polk County, where families can go to check out all of the different preschool options in our area. They can filter, as you can see, by what city or area they want, what kind of setting. Dana had mentioned that we have school-based, center-based, and home-based. So depending on what the family's looking for, they can filter by that. They can filter by the type of program they're looking for. We've recently included 0 to 3 as well in our hub. So families who are looking for preschool, they can also look for younger ages. They can filter by language, languages that are spoken and languages that they're taught in, whether they have transportation, whether they take a ERDC, what age groups they serve, and some of the different disabilities or needs, family needs that they might have, whether it's extended care or serving children with special needs, and whether they include nap time. Sometimes families are looking for less than full day. So Preschool Promise, as Dana said, there's a minimum requirement of hours, whereas Head Start, they have the half days, and some families are looking for a half day. When families put in an interest form on the preschool hub, when they go here, they can get help with looking for what they're looking for in preschool. And when they fill this out, we have a table where we share with our partners with Head Start and OPK, and we can decide which best fits the community needs. And this is the coordinated enrollment piece that we do at the local level to make sure that families are getting served the best for what their needs are. Not just Preschool Promise is an amazing program. It reaches up to 200% federal poverty level, but it's also a full school day. And some families are not looking for a full school day for their 3 or 4 year old. Some families are less than 200%. Some of them qualify for Head Start. And so we help coordinate families and help them find the best fit for their needs. In our school district, the Salem-Keizer School District, there are Preschool Promise, Head Start. There's also the Title I preschools. And so we can also talk to families regarding those needs. In our area, we have 32 preschool promise sites that we manage, or that we do applications for, enrollment for. And I believe 29 providers. Like Dana said, it's kind of a new program. And we started with only 330 slots back in 2016. And then as it grew in 2020, we switched over, transitioned to being under the State Department, and we increased in how many slots we had, how many providers we had, and to where we are now, where we have 897 slots in our community. So you can see that early child development, early childhood education is super important. And because of being able to open Preschool Promise, we can help families more than we could with just Head Start. Head Start allows for up to 100% federal poverty level, whereas Preschool Promise bumps that up so we can serve more families. And this is just one community, one local hub area. And so being able to help these statewide, you can see we are able to give a lot more services to more families. Our hub region has had 89% average for our enrollments altogether since we started. We've processed more than 4,500 applications since we've started. We serve, like I said, we have 32 in our area. We work with the CCR&R to also help our providers. We meet with the education school district to help with families and just to coordinate all the services. We have the pieces of the family, we have the child's needs, and we have the provider's needs. And we all work together to make sure, like I said, we can best serve the community. We try to help make sure that providers aren't feeling burnout. Yeah. Do you guys have questions for the local level or the state level?
I think there's a question there if Preschool Promise is available in the North Coast, and yes, we do have that. Will be through a different hub region. I did put the link there, and I think Misha put the link as well to like our general page on our website, and then you're able to go ahead and see the different hubs in the different counties that they each serve. Thank you. Well,
Oh,
as
one
you-
of the reasons
Oh, go
wanted
ahead.
to bring it up was I know that so ERDC, they can use that for extended hours for Preschool Promise, and Preschool Promise has its own application, and it's a subsidized preschool program. But if we can get more partners to understand the application process to be able to help families enroll in this program, and then they can use ERDC for extended hours instead of just going straight to ERDC. And that was kind of what I wanted to highlight, is just how we can help our partners understand the process of being able to do this application, and to know that that goes up to 200% of the federal poverty level is really helpful, because it allows a lot more families to get that support.
And then just to remind, enrollment for the 24-25 program year has started. So definitely, if you know of any families like interested, their local hub will be the main, the main point of contact there. So on that page, that's where you can go ahead and direct them to go ahead and find their hub and then start with that eligibility.
Well, so each hub is going to be different in their application process. The way we do ours is completely online, but through the school district, they have a paper copy. And I know that some of the other hubs, their applications look a little different. They're online as well, but they're all the same questions, but their process might be a little different.
And for families that may, require like a paper copy or something that is something that the hub can still help them, even though like a lot of them do use those platforms. So we're really trying to go ahead and focus to ensure that there's no barriers to families applying, and we know that the comfort level and like doing online versus paper, or sometimes even just verbally, we really are trying to go ahead and ensure that we meet parents' needs there. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dana and Katrina, for all this information. It's a really wonderful program. Did anybody have any questions for them before we move on to our next presenter?
I do real quick. And I apologize if this was already stated. Just curious, when doing it online, is it like user friendly through the phone? Because I know some things it's like, oh, through the computer only, can't really work out well using smartphones. So I just wanted to clarify, people can do it through their smartphones.
I know that for our application, I've talked people through doing it on their phone.
Got you. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, just a reminder that what Katrina said earlier, that each hub, their application looks a little different. So whether or not they're mobile friendly will probably depend on the hub potentially, but it sounds like they're trying to meet the needs of the family. And so I would just encourage family to reach out if they're having difficulty in applying so that they can get that assistance. All right. I think we'll go ahead and move on. But thank you very much for your presentation on Preschool Promise. And I saw Miguel here, who's going to talk to you about the Pandemic Emergency Assistance Fund, what that is, and give a report out on how it went.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Miguel Mendes. I'm the lead analyst for the TANF program, and hopefully you can see my screen.
I see it.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So as Misha stated, I'm here to give a little presentation on the Pandemic Emergency Assistance Funds and how that program went here at ODHS. A little bit of background, the funds, which we often, as I'm sure you all are aware, we really love our acronyms here at ODHS. And so PEEF, it was established under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. States and territories were able to request these funds as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The original allotment of funds were to be issued between April 25th, 2021, and had to be expended down by September 30th, 2022. States, tribes, and territories that were able to spend down their original allotments were eligible for reallotments the following year. And so that's just a little bit of history. Oregon did receive a reallotment because we were able to spend down the completion of our original P funds, and our reallotted funds was 1.3 million, as you can see there, and we did have to expend all those funds by April 30th of 2024. And a little bit of background that I don't have on this slide, I didn't think about it till later this afternoon, was our original allotment was over $12 million, and we spent the majority of that on payment to all TANF families back in November of 2021. And the payments were $735, and we had about 16,570 eligible families at that time to receive those funds. All right, so for this reallotment of P funds, we did have to have some eligibility. There are still some eligibility criteria that was expected with these funds. They had to meet purpose one of TANF. I said see PEEF document here. I should have taken that out, realizing another little mistake. Apologies, I'll fix that, and Misha will send out the corrected version. Families had to meet an income threshold, so the state was able to determine what that income threshold was for ease of delivery and to getting these services out to families as quickly as possible. That income threshold was SNAP, so a family did not have to be receiving TANF in order to be eligible for these funds. They just simply had to be at least receiving SNAP for themselves. There had to be a child because they are TANF funds. We still needed to have that dependent child relationship with these families. And the way that the P funds were set at a national level is they are called what's called a non-recurrent short-term payment. So not your typical TANF funds, and there had to be a crisis or need directly related from the COVID-19 pandemic and ongoing residual effects from the pandemic. Now I'll talk a little bit about the delivery and the approach that we took for these funds. So we did set up initial work groups between the program, our executive leadership team, our Office of Equity and Multicultural Services, ODHS Tribal Affairs. Excuse me one second. As well as some other central office teams, and how to best utilize these funds. And we really wanted to be able to support families who have been historically marginalized within our state and within our nation, and who were really hit the hardest nationwide through the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we ended up with the decision to focus these payments to members of the 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon, or any member who was of Native heritage within the state. And when we worked with the districts, our messaging for the districts was really to ensure that there was strong collaboration between any of the tribal governments within their service area, or any other Native American communities within their area, so that we can ensure that the funds were going to the population identified for this, as well as ensure that we spent all the funds by the April 30th deadline. I also want to note that there are 2 tribes within our state, the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians and the Klamath Tribes, who operate tribal TANF programs. They did receive an initial allotment of the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Unfortunately, due to some accounting situations, they were not able to expend the entirety of the funds. But the good news is we were able to work with the 2 tribes and serve their tribal members with these funds, because they did not get a reallotment of funds. So because they didn't get the reallotment of funds, there was no duplication of services or funds. And that was very exciting that we were able to help those communities as well. And I hit next and it's not moving. I hope it's not freezing. There it goes. All right, so some of the prevalent payments that we've seen, this is not comprehensive, but this is just by reviewing quickly what we could for the various trackers that we have with the districts. The top payments that we saw were for housing related costs, so rent, mortgage, and we also assisted with housing repairs to stabilize living situations and make the home safer. Another one was utility assistance. That was in the form of payments to utility companies for electricity, water, and even in some situations, helping with like pellets for pellet stoves and wood as well. Car auto repairs. So with these, the way this was structured at a federal level, we were not able to assist with certain things such as childcare, training and education, or transportation costs. However, auto repairs were allowable because just of the way the language was. So we were able to assist with auto repairs. We also saw a lot of food assistance and household supplies, so pots and pans, cleaning supplies, things of that nature. And we also saw a lot of payments for work clothing, as well as specific work equipment. And I'll break down the numbers here a little bit. So we saw a total of 1,854 payments for a total of 1,187 families. So through these efforts with our districts, we were able to serve over 1,000 families, which is very exciting. The average payment total total PEEF payments per family was $895.06. The average number of payments per family was 1.5. With these funds, because it was structured as a non-recurrent short-term payment, there are rules in place where they're limited to 4 months, 4 consecutive months at a time, without a break in benefits. But as you can see here, the average was really 1.5, so a little bit more than 1 per payment, just based on the numbers. Here, I'm moving into the payment methods that we saw. You'll see that a little bit over half are bulk items, and those bulk items were one district spent some funds on vouchers for housing. They were able to set up contracts with different housing agencies and get vouchers for families to assist in emergent situations. We saw a lot of gift cards to different variety of stores within community. And we also saw in some instances different types of gift cards like, I'm trying to think, Amazon gift cards. Amazon gift cards so families can purchase what they needed directly from Amazon. State cards, so we have what is called spots cards, and those are like the state credit cards, and there are various holders throughout each district. So we saw that was our second highest utilized method. And the way that would work is, family identified they had to pay they needed rental assistance or utility assistance, or they had a very specific needs, and we were able to purchase them from Walmart. We would on our end do everything we could to, process that payment via the credit card. The other option you see here was 5%, was utilizing our existing invoicing process with our Office of Financial Services. That process was a little bit more time consuming. So as you can see, it was a little bit less utilized. And then we had direct checks from offices as 2%. We were able to work with our business team and the Office of Financial Services to figure out a way to be able to issue checks directly out of the office in really emergent situations. And we were very lucky to have that option. And then the last slide that I have here, I wanted to give a percentage of how districts landed. So as you can see here, majority of the districts got to 100%. In the grand scheme of things, got to 100% of utilization of their funds. District 1 got to 97%, District 8 got to 99%, so pretty close to 100%. If we round, we're at 100. One district did not receive P funding just because of multiple reasons and staffing allocations and limitation of spots. As you can see here, the total number of dollars that were left on the table is estimated right now at about 0.6% or $7,435.83. This is just our initial estimate within TANF policy. We are continuing to work with Office of Financial Services as transactions get posted and finalized. We've had a couple of instances where transactions ended up having to be canceled by vendors because they no longer had the item, things of that nature. And so these are just our initial estimates. A little disappointing that we did not get to full utilization, but extremely happy with the work that our service delivery staff were able to do with getting these funds out and collaborating with different tribal communities within their areas to get these funds to the families in need. And it was a big feat. It wasn't a lot of time. I think we started issuing the allotments in late October to the districts, and they only had a few months to expend all the funds and with limited options, as you saw earlier. So we were very happy that we were able to make this happen. One thing I did forget to mention that just came to my mind, I'll go back to the slide. The gift cards here, the bulk items, some districts still retain some of those gift cards. The good thing is because the monies have gone out the door, the payments were processed on those gift cards, they are able to continue to assist families in need. So that we still do have some gift cards that are being issued out to eligible families. So it just depends on those districts and which ones still have those gift cards available. All right, that is the end of my slide deck. So I will stop sharing and open the door to any questions or any feedback that you all may have.
I don't see any questions so far. I guess that was because you had such a thorough presentation there, Miguel.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of information. I will be sure to correct the mistakes that I noticed in here. Apologies for those, and I will send the corrected version to Misha to attach to the minutes.
All right, thank you. In the meantime, if something comes to mind and you'd like to ask, feel free to put that in chat, and I'm sure Miguel will be happy to answer your question. All right, next on our agenda, we have an announcement from our communications department, and I think I saw Sunny here earlier. Sunny, are you ready?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all. So I wanted to share with everybody that we are going to start having customer service surveys that will be rolling out along a few different ways. And I'm just going to share my screen really quickly, if that's okay. See if it will do the right one. Oops, that's not the right one. There it goes. Let's see. Are you able to see that? Oh, you're seeing the whole thing. Well, I guess we can work with this. So we are going to, actually today, we've started doing some surveys on our Oregon One mobile app and with post-appointment surveys for benefits eligibility. And they're very quick questions. It's about 4 questions. They're multilingual, they're short, also anonymous. And this is really just a way for the Oregon Department of Human Services to get read on how things are going. Are there ways that we could do things better? And then later this June, where we've had 4 different surveys, 4 different areas in the state pilot these surveys. And these are going to be on a poster with a QR code. The 4 different areas were like Tillamook, Columbia, and Clatsop counties. We had Josephine and Jackson counties. We also had Roseburg and Grants, Medford, sorry, and then also Multnomah County. And these are really same to just capture what people are, how people are seeing if they're getting their needs met. And we've got these in English, Russian, Spanish, and Vietnamese, but we've got a lot more languages that are coming along soon. And then the data will be used in those storefront offices. They'll be specific to that office so we can get immediate feedback right away. And office managers will be using that. It's interesting because in the first 6-month pilot where we tried this, I kind of expected we would have a lot of negative things that people would only use, be upset and share their surveys that way. In fact, we had a lot of really positive feedback. And so managers have been using this to share with staff and let people know when things are going right and when things could be better. And that's about it. Anybody has any questions, be happy to answer any.
Thanks, Sunny. I don't see any questions in chat so far.
Sounds good. Well, appreciate you having me. Thanks, Misha.
All right, thank you. So I noticed that our director, Claire, kind of popped into the meeting today. Claire, can I put you on the spot? Do you have anything you'd like to share with our partners? We've got about 5 minutes left. We're ahead of schedule.
There's just no way to sneak in and hear the updates about what's going on.
Oh, you know.
Hi, everybody. I just had a really great meeting. I'm just going to share something totally off the cuff here. But I just had a really great meeting with some partners in Washington County about expanding some resources for refugees and related to daycare. And I just want to acknowledge that every time I talk to any of our partners, I'm just kind of blown away by what's going on and everything that you all are doing. And it makes me so excited to be where we are and talking about the things we're talking about. And so I just came away so excited, and I thought, ooh, I'm going to pop on to the partner meeting and I'm going to hear more good things that are happening. And just wanted to say how grateful we are for the partnership that you all bring and for everything you do every day. And I mean that completely sincerely today. I'm kind of moved by it all. So I think that's all I'll add. Thanks, Misha.
Claire, appreciate you coming in today and saying hi to us all and being a part of this space. Well, thank you all for being here. I hope you found today's information interesting and informative. And we are at the end of our agenda. I think before I end officially, I'll just ask one more time if there's any questions that anybody has that they'd like to speak into the space. Happy to give you that time. All right, looks like not. So you get a whole 4 minutes back today. And we'll see you again next month. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.